Focus on Liberia. We discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And I am Ansony Sieh, and a pleasant welcome to, of course, Focus on Liberia on the Hour of Politics. I'm Ansony Sieh. Welcome and welcome to yet another edition of the Hour of Politics. I will always ask for my usual favor, which is your contribution to the show, that you share the broadcast with somebody. And I think that is so important. Thank you and welcome again. Today's topic is something that is promising. Today's topic is something to reveal a political actor. I love this. And so this is why I want you to invite somebody, because it's something to like. Profiling CPP Vice Tenor Bearer Charlyne and Brumskine. Charlyne Brumskine is now a vice presidential running mate on the ticket of a major political party in the upcoming election. If you know about politics, this is big for so many reasons. This is big. This is a huge responsibility. Whatever happens, Charlyne name has entered the books of history now in Liberian politics. And what we all want is we want leaders who not only driven, not only knowledgeable, not only qualified, but leaders who will be better representation. Leaders who involvement into decision making will take us to a higher level, will take us to better places. And that has been that one thing that we have been looking for. Leaders who we can be proud of, not because of their name, their personality, of who they are, but because of what they do, what they stand for, decision they are making in the interest of the nation that they are serving. Charlyne Brumskine is now in politics in a significant way. To be vice president is consequential. If you are his vice president, the fact that she's a vice tenor bearer now, she'll be on a ticket as a vice presidential candidate, you cannot dismiss the possibility that are before her. One of which is she can become president one day. Joe Biden was vice president. He became president of the United States. Joe Biden was president in Liberia. He has been running to become president, and people take him serious for that. Now, Tubman was vice president, and he became president. And so when Tubman became president, many people agree he did well, while others disagree. So coming back to Charlyne Brumskine, who is she? My goal here is to profile her politically or in terms of leadership, who she is, what is in her, what she brings to the table, It is more so about trying to reveal who Charlyne is, because she will be on the ticket, a presidential ticket. She, whether or not you like it, will be a representation of our democratic process. So who is she? Does she fit there? Is she well and better suited there? Will her presence be an inspiration for many? How does her presence in this space now make us as a people to look? And what should we be looking for? And so we can't do this by starting, we can't do this without starting with who she actually is. Who is Charlyne Brumskine? Charlyne Brumskine is a woman, a Liberian, whose roots come from Grambassa County. Her father, the Brumskine family, has long since been rooted in Grambassa County. But we will talk a little more about her father, Charles Walker Brumskine, who served the people of Grambassa County as a senator, will become pro tempore of the Liberian Senate during the Charles Taylor administration. He became a politician, established a political party in Liberia, now the Liberty Party. He contested for the Liberian presidency, I believe, 2 times. And so she is a daughter of who we became known as an active political person in our nation's history. But she has become a woman of her own. She's not who she is because of her father. She is who she is because of what she's been able to do as a young, enterprising Liberian woman. She went to school. She got the necessary education. So she became a woman of herself. So let's talk about her qualification more. We understand Charlyne, in terms of education, got well educated. She received her Bachelor of Arts degree in political science, and she didn't stop there. She got her Juris Doctor degree from Harvard University School of Law in Washington, D.C. So that's how much education she had. Now, there are people who get education, and we can credit them for that. So getting the education is one thing. What do you do with the education is another thing that we should also recognize in understanding what Charlyne is and what she brings to the table as a leader and as a political figure in our country. Because these are the things that will inspire others to either become like you. You can more so be the one setting the pace for others to follow. So Charlyne, after getting this education that I mentioned, she established a law firm. She established her own law firm, and that law firm has been operating up to today. And we can also say that Charlyne is one of the few Liberian women who owns and manages a leading law firm in Liberia. We also know that Charlyne is the chair of the Brumskine Family Foundation. So that is leadership as the head of the Brumskine Family Foundation, a foundation that was established, I'm sure, in her father's name, but I think it's that's the family foundation. She is the head of that particular foundation. So that is leadership. That is one of the things that she brings to politics, or to the table, as they will say in Liberia. Now, we're talking about qualification and leadership, whether she's a leader, whether she's qualified to occupy the space, right? So she sits on a number of corporate and not-for-profit boards in Liberia in the area of education and also the banking sector, according to the information that we have gotten. So Charlene brings a lot to the table. She is a young woman. That is something that she brings to the table, that she's young, that she's educated, that she's a lawyer. She has established a law firm, and that law firm is, operational, is functional. It has hired people, and these people are in a working space, and they are earning income, and in return supporting families. That is leadership. That is something that she brings. That means that she is aware of what it means to provide employment, and not just employment for the name of it, but that it earns one a living wage, and the dignity that it brings, and and that a family is smiling because the breadwinner of that family has a job, and that family member is working with a law firm that's established by the young Liberian. There are many Liberian women who have obtained education similarly, but what have they been able to do with it? It's another question we need to ask. Now, in Charlene's case, not only did she do well to earn the education that she's gotten, but she got to know that the essence of getting that education is to be able to serve humanity. All right, the essence of that education is to do good for humanity, for your people, to provide a service. All right, and that is the reason she got the education that she has. So that's Charlene. That is something that she brings to the table. Now, one might be asking, is Charlene the only young Liberian woman who has entered into politics in a significant way? The answer is no. She is not the only one who has entered politics and has gotten education. But Charlene is so unique in her own way, just as anybody will be unique, but Charlene is unique in a very special way. Now, let's contrast Charlene with other Liberian women. For example, let's look at Joel Howard Taylor, who is a vice president today, served as senator for 2 terms before becoming a vice president of the Republic of Liberia. Our understanding is that now Dr. Joel Howard Taylor, they will call her, she too got a degree in law. Does she have a law firm to her name? Has she practiced before as a lawyer? Has she been able to represent anybody as a lawyer? None that I know of. Because I listened to Joel Howard Taylor, she says she got this law degree, and what she does is she watches movies, that crime movie and all that, that borders on movies that border on legality. So she was not able to say if she has ever represented anybody, whether she has ever argued a case in court, whether she has worked with any law firm or has established one. Nothing, nada. She, holds a law degree, we are told, but in that area that she earned her degree, she has never practiced, did not establish any law firm. So if you were to contrast Charlene with Joel Howard Taylor, you will see that Charlene did not only earn her degree in her area of expertise of in your profession, but she be able to follow through and live it and using it, all right, to provide service for humanity, representing clients, and and also providing employment for other people. So that is profound, and that's what sets us apart. If we are to contrast with Joel Howard Taylor. Now, if you look at Joel Howard Taylor in Liberia, people say, "Well, what does Joel bring to the table?" People will always talk to you. Well, what Joel has to her name in the first place? Well, other than former wife of a former rebel leader and former president of Liberia. She saw the atrocity that this man committed, but she stayed there, and she was milking it. And that's it. My understanding is that even while Charles Taylor was president at some point, Joel Howard Taylor was with the Central Bank of Liberia, right? And she was of first lady at the time, and, so I don't see why Joel Howard Taylor, in terms of her education and experience, in terms of leadership that she has brought for the people of Liberia, to get a service. I don't know if that anybody can help me. So what Joel Howard Taylor brings to the table, I don't know. But for Charlene, as I narrated, there's a lot she brings to the table. Yeah, Joel was young, accurately, when she came to politics. What did Joel do? What did she accomplish? Compared to Charlene, when she came to politics. If anything, politically, what you say, she bringing what? Votes? Is that what it is? No. Vote is not leadership. The ability for people to like you and just vote because of you is not what we're looking for here. Leadership is about service to your people, representation, fighting for the good things that improve the material condition of people, political leadership for that matter. So the only way we can say this person is bringing something to the table is where you're coming from. The little things that you've been able to accomplish and being able to do, those are the examples that we can look at and say this person is bringing something to the table. So Charlene is not only betting on the fact that she's young, that she's educated. Another thing we can argue that Charlene brings to the table is her personality. Her personality as a young woman, bright, who has her own mind and her own ideas and has the ability to articulate them. And we also seen that she have demonstrated, a super level of emotional intelligence. I mean, if you think about what happened in the Liberty Party, this is a party that her father started. Her father has passed, and that party, disintegrated into chaos. And she was ready, and she maintained her cool throughout the process. We didn't see her taking side. She was interested in unifying the sides in the Liberty Party. If she was somebody, she would say, well, what are you people doing? This is my father party, and all of you, trying to destroy it, and then she would step in and try to take ownership of it. Because it's like, this is like her father's legacy. And any child, who want to protect and preserve, the legacy of their parent. But, and will use emotion to do so. But again, she did not do that. She did not do that. Charlene did not do that. Charlene exhibited leadership, emotional intelligence in making sure that was not done in that faction. So we can say that was leadership that she has demonstrated and that she is bringing to the table. that in the midst of crisis, she would be able to maintain herself and focus on reconciliation and focus on settling the dispute and not putting her emotion in that. That is significant. I mean, if you look at others, when they are angry, when they are unhappy about something, and some of them, you will see the anger in their faces, because something precious to them, maybe something is hurting them. They want to vent out the frustration. They are not focusing on the bigger picture. And Charlene was able to recognize the best way, to preserve, to protect the image of the Liberty Party is to opt for reconciliation. It's not just my emotion that will pour out that will make me to look like a leader. So she did what she could. That is something that she brings to the table. And we should all value that. It's very, very important. Now, so I asked the question again. There are other Liberian women now and in the past who play significant leadership roles in our country. Are you saying that Charlene is different? Charlene is different. Just like everybody will be different. And I can name you many Liberian women. For example, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. She played her role. She became president of Liberia. She won the Nobel Peace Prize. And prior to that, she was in government. At some point, she got elected as senator of Monserrate County, but she never served that position. And, Ellen had some leadership experiences before becoming president. Now, we can debate, all day long whether Ellen delivered as a female president of Liberia, as a female leader of Liberia. But we are talking about Charlene. Now, whether Ellen has inspired hope in Liberia, that's another story. But we are talking about Charlene. Is she inspiring hope in Liberia? She being a woman is positive and is hopeful for million young women participation in Liberian politics. It is. For us to be, she's not the first to be on a major party ticket, but, for her level of accomplishment or for her level of experience, her youthfulness, and what she is, the big shoes that she's walking in. Let me contrast Charlene for you to see the picture a little bit that I'm painting. There's a Liberian woman who became president of the University of Liberia. The woman's name is Mary Antoinette Brown Sherman. All right, Mary Antoinette Brown Sherman, was the daughter of Louis Arthur Graham. I think Louis Arthur Graham will become Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Liberia. Is in his name. They have the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law. So Mary Antoinette Brown Sherman, is the daughter of Louis Arthur Graham, right? So she saw how far her father went. And so she too knew that she was walking in a very big shoe. She had a very big shoe to fill. And so she did not only aspire for greatness, but she was able to keep going and going until she became president of the University of Liberia. So like Charlene is also driven by many things, who her father was, and now she's coming. Her father was never a was not on a vice presidential ticket, but he was on a presidential ticket. And so she sees this thing bigger. just like Mary Anthony Brown Sherman, saw her father becoming Chief Justice, and she wanted to be something. She wanted to provide, and to conclude that point is that when she became president of the University of Liberia, Anthony Brown Sherman, there was so much successes that she had. She expanded the University of Liberia. She sent people abroad on scholarship. So much good that she did when she was president of the University of Liberia. And those who are familiar with the University of Liberia history, she is one of the most successful University of Liberia presidents we ever had in our nation history. She was trying to fill a big shoe in her own way. She got an education, just like her father had an education. Her father was in high, place in terms of leadership in our government. And so when she came to, she felt that she needed to do something. She wanted to be a pride of her father. Not only her father, she wanted to be the pride of the nation. Similarly, Charlyne, understanding that her father was on a ticket, was a political leader in our country, and now she's coming, she does not only want to be, just the daughter of somebody who was in politics. She wants to make her own name. She wants to be able to achieve. She wants to be able to do something. Just as Mary Anthony Brown Sherman. She saw her father, became Chief Justice, and she's like, I have to be something. And not only because of my father, but I want to be the pride of my parents. I want to be the pride of this nation, just as my father became a pride of this nation. Those things drive people. For them, it is not only about the name. The name will only mean something when you do something. And when you don't do something, it has to be something positive. Then, of course, the name will go down in history as a good name. And so I think this is what I see. This is what I see. And if you look at Charlyne, she got her education in the U.S., just like many of us. She could find any job here, just like any of us, of most of us, but she chose to go to Liberia. She had earlier decided to contest for the post of representative in Grand Bassa County. She had started that process. So you see, this is a woman who is driven, young, great personality. We know Charlyne to also be a mother of 2 children. And for her, she doesn't want to sit in the back. She wants to be able to do so. She is inspiring a lot of young women to come into political leadership. And that is a good thing. Because of Charlyne, Omentoba, daughter in Grand Croix County, might want to run for office someday, might want to get the same education as Charlyne Brumskine. So this is promising for young Liberian women in Liberia and outside of Liberia. That is what it should be, and nothing else. So her presence, another thing she brings to the table in Liberian political space is the fact that will speak well for Liberia on the outside. Imagine somebody from Sierra Leone looking at the presidential ballot or watching on TV that this woman is a vice presidential candidate and she is debating the issues. It will speak well of Liberia. That Liberia as a country has selected a young woman to be on a major presidential ticket. And there she is debating the issue. That will speak well for us. When Ellen Johnson Sirleaf became president, the whole world was proud of Liberia because as a young, educated, and qualified woman, she became president of Liberia. It was obvious why we got all the goodwill at the time. That was also part of that. It was not only because we had just come from war. It was because of the person Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the woman Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the experienced, educated, and smart woman Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. So we had so much goodwill because of the person Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Similarly, Charlyne Brumskine being on the ballot on the ticket of a major political party speaks well of us as a people and of our country. I know sometimes some women, get offended when we men also try to recognize women by their beauty and their personality. But I will ask you to please forgive me. She's a beautiful woman. Beauty is powerful. And you women know that. And we men know that too. That is a charm. And she is not just beautiful, she's smart. Her reasoning is superb. This is a lawyer we're talking about. Now imagine the woman becoming a vice president and representing Liberia. Think about that. Will you not be proud as a Liberian citizen? Doesn't that speak well of us as a nation? That we value women to the point that we are setting the pace for others to follow in terms of women participation and leadership in Africa and more so in the world. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Liberia produced the first female president in Africa and the first female president in many European countries. We set a standard that even the United States might not even come to anytime soon. Nigeria may never get there anytime soon. So that is what she brings to the table. This is an inspiration for not only young Liberian women, but all women in Africa and around the world. That is something. If it is not something, then I don't know why you think it's something here. So it also shows that we as a nation, we are prepared to embrace young women participation at the higher level in politics. That is something she brings. It could not just be any other woman, because we have had other women in Liberia. For example, and this is not to beat down, or cast expression on any Liberian woman. We are all unique in special ways. We have different abilities, and there's nothing wrong with that. But let's look at Boto Cannon, who is now a senator. Can Boto Cannon be a better representation of our nation, say at the United Nations, to go and give a speech? Let's say Finambono. When Finambono travels with President Weah, we see how she dresses, right? And what do? We criticize her, and it is our right to do so, because she is a representation of our nation. Does she even understand that? Does she? Because Finambono will dress whatever way she feels. And let's say Fina were given the opportunity to speak. How would that make our country to look when she opens her mouth? But think about Charlene, maybe being on a world stage, maybe representing Liberia at a women conference at the United Nations and giving the opportunity to speak for Liberia. Young, beautiful, professional, who is a leader and articulating the issues. Will you not feel proud as a Liberian? Even her critics, even those who disagree with her politically, in their heart, they will know that she is a better face of our country. That is what she brings to the table. So your daughter will be inspired. My daughter will be inspired. The nation Liberia will be inspired that one of its daughters, the nation Liberia will be proud that one of its daughters is a better face and a better representation at the leadership level. That's what she brings to the table. Now, I understand Charlene is passionate about Liberia. That is another thing that she brings to the table. And not only the passion being expressed, she's been able to demonstrate it. Establish law firm in Liberia, providing services for clients in Liberia. I understand Charlene also sometime back launched a scholarship program, a $1 million Liberian scholarship program for the people of Grand Bassa County, for students to go to school. That is something she brings to the table. That means she wants to see the young people of Liberia getting the necessary education that they need, just as she has. That is something, the consciousness that education should be the foundation on which we build the future of this country. Liberia's future is not in the roads that they build. Liberia's future is not in the buildings that they build. Liberia's future is in the young people, the education that we gave them. She is conscious of that. And though not rich, decided to raise $1 million Liberian to help in that direction. That is something she brings to the table. So it means that if she's fortunate to become president, vice president of Liberia, she will be in a room to say, hey, we have to give more scholarship. We have to put more money in the budget for education. Because she's doing it as an individual, how much more when she's privileged enough to sit in a room to decide how we educate the young people of Liberia, the future leader of our country. More than likely, she will be able to advocate for more funding. So that is what Charlene brings to the table. Now, I'm going to ask this very important question, though. Charlene, as a lawyer, who are the clients she's representing? Who are the clients that she has represented? If we look at Tiawan Gonglo, many of us, or all of us, agree Tiawan brings a lot to the table. Why? Because Tiawan, as a lawyer, has been representing particularly poor people in Liberia, to the point that he earned himself the nickname the poor man lawyer. Now, justice is usually denied the poor because they don't have money, because they don't have connection. Tiawan said, I will represent the people on pro bono basis that he has been able to do. So when we are talking about bringing something to the table, Tiawan Gonglo brings something to the table in terms of legal representation in Liberia. Now, Charlyne is a lawyer who has a law firm, has represented people, no argument about that, maybe businesses too, I would think, who are her clients. That is significant, and it's important to know, and Charlyne needs to come and explain to us who are the people that she has represented. Because when you want to be vice president of a poor, suffering, weary, and dying nation, Liberia, you'll be serving 99% of the poor in Liberia. So we want to know, what is her history of being there in her legal practice, in representation in Liberia? Can we say she brings something to the table from that angle? There where I will want Charlyne to come and explain to us. So, trying to profile Charlyne, we have to be well balanced and fair. Now look at the man Vani Shema. Vani Shema is a known Liberian lawyer. Vani Shema, I'm not sure he has represented the poor people in Liberia. Valen Sherman has been representing corporations and BB businesses, and there where he earned himself fortune. And many of the businesses he represented, concession agreement that he's provided legal services for, they have not only cheated Liberians of good benefits. If you look at Sherman, his law firm and his legal practice, he represented pretty much rich people, corporation that are rich, and many of those corporations that rip the country off and rip Liberians off of what they're supposed to get. So it is important that we understand where Charlyne is coming from in terms of her clients and legal representation in Liberia. That is significant. I would like to hear Charlyne speak on this. If she's coming like a Valen Sherman, corporate lawyer who is all about corporate interests and rich people interests, and that's how he makes his money and won't care about whether the ordinary man down there is taken care of, is getting a good deal on that concession agreement, because he was always trying to see how his clients would get maximum profit, all right, sometimes or more so against the interest of the Liberian people. So is Charlyne in that same shoe or she's not? We can say of Councillor Gonglo, he's not in that shoe. So we can rest assured that in the event, let's say Gonglo becomes president, I'm sure Liberians will have that trust that he will represent the interests of the poor. Because the vice presidential post in Liberia should be about the country interest, and the country majority of the people who own that country are poor people. So what is Charlyne representation history? We need to know. If she has been representing corporate interest, how has that interest undermined the interests of the poor? And if she should become vice president of Liberia, wouldn't she continue with whatever pattern she had been on in terms of representation instead of trying to represent the interests of the people? We really need to know. And I don't have more information. I don't have any information on that. Whether her law firm has been about representing corporate businesses, who always try to cheat our people. We really need to know, and that is something that we need to know, and maybe we need to dive deeper, but it is on her now. She wants to be vice president of Liberia, and she needs to explain herself, this law firm, this representation that she has been providing in Liberia. Who are the people she's been representing? We want to know, has she represented the poor in Liberia? Has she pleaded cases or provided legal services? Has she provided legal services for poor people in Liberia? Has she done pro bono legal services for ordinary Liberians? We need to know, because that's what inform us about what she wants to do as vice president, who interests she will represent as vice president. Apart from that, she is promising. Charlyne is the future that we all hope for. The future of Liberia, we want to see young, educated Liberians. Not only young, we want to see Liberians from all walks of life educated. There are people that want to talk about whether Charlyne, is she bassa enough? Of course, she's bassa enough. I think I said that earlier. Her great-grandparents had been bassa. And, she went to Grand Bassa County to contest, so she knows where she comes from. She knows who she is. To be bassa is not that you must be bassa to be bassa. No. I am cruel. my son does not speak Kru. Are you saying he's not Kru because he doesn't speak Kru? He has not gone to my hometown of Sastan before. So are you saying he's not Kru? So many ways, few ways maybe to be who you are, where you're from. You know, my son is Kru. I mean, that's the fact. Are you going to deny somebody of their inalienable right, you know, of their history, you know, their heritage, you know, of their roots, because they can't speak a language? It is perfect. And it is a plus to be able to speak your language just as I do. I speak my language profoundly well, even better than this English that gives me so much hard time. But me being able to speak my dialect is not an automatic thing to say it's going to develop Sastan. I got to do something. I have to have the skill set. I have to have the leadership. And I have to be given the opportunity to be able to serve and be able to serve based on, you know, my values, you know, what I'm driven by and what I want to see, you know, for my people. It will not be my language that will be doing the things they want to do. I mean, they want to see done in the place. So it's Liberia. So Liberia is official language is English. Don't all our leaders, political leaders, for the most part, been people who speak English? Are we developed the way we should have been because they spoke English and some are still speaking English? No. So as significant as language is, it's just a means of communicating your ideas, your thoughts. So that cannot be a disqualifying factor. She is 100% Bassa, and after all, she is a Liberian. Our constitution is clear. To be a leader in Liberia, you must be a Liberian, and she is a Liberian. To be in that position, you must meet the age requirement, and she has reached that. She even surpassed that. So she brings a lot to the table, and this is what we really want to share with you. So yeah, Charlyne brings a lot to the table. She's a representation of hope for women participation in Liberian politics. Her presence in the political field will speak well of Liberia on the outside. And if you contrast her with, you know, lots of Liberian women, she is unique and best suited and inspiring and driven in the most significant way compared to most Liberian women. You know, so yes, she brings a lot to the table. I know people talk about qualification that she have not had governmental experience before. So that is a manus. The fact is that governmental experience is something. Do you really need to have worked in government before you can serve in government? Then a lot of people will be denied the opportunity. A lot of people will be denied the opportunity. You must have worked in government before to gain it. So that means we have to just abandon the private sector and everybody, because at some point may want to, or you know, some people might want to, so they have some point have to leave the no. The thing is that government or not is the same thing about leadership. It's the same thing about leadership. And so I don't think to not have worked in government should be a disqualifying factor. And I think it should be more so that have you served in any leadership position, be a government or not? And, you know, do you have the education? Do you have the skill set? Do you care about your country? Do you want to represent the interests of the people? And, you know, that is what it should be. Are you not corrupt? Will you not be corrupt? And, you know, are you not in this for yourself and what you will get, or are you in this, you know, for the advancement Do you want to see the material condition of the people being improved? Is that what it is? More than likely, one can think, I think this is what Charlyne is up to. I mean, she could stay in the United States, young lawyer, and find a job with corporate America, and she will live life, right? But she said, I'm going to my country. That's where I will establish my law firm. That's where I will practice. And that's where I want to represent my people of Bassa. And I also want to serve my country. So she brings a lot to the table. We need young, intelligent, smart, and beautiful women to come to political leadership in Liberia. We all have mothers, and we know how far our mothers can go to see us smart again. I think Charlyne is a pride of the nation Liberia. Charlyne is a daughter of Liberia that we should all celebrate, and that should be given the opportunity. I want to see the debate. I want to see the men, who are there to debate her. I think Joseph Walker has a male who is his vice standard bearer. All right. So we want to see the vice presidential debate. I really want to see that. I want to see Joel Howard Taylor, Charlyne and Jeremiah Kuhn, whoever Tiawan Gonglo is to pick. I understand James Clarence Moneba. James Clarence Moneba is the vice running mate to Freeman, who is the political leader of MPC, Movement for Progressive Change. I understand he's from Baum County. He's a doctor. All right. So I want to see the debate. Let's see the young woman and Joel Howard Taylor also and Dr. Moneba, not the Moneba from Lofa County. This Moneba, he is the vice running mate to MPC, political leader Freeman. Right. So we want to see them in the debate. We want to see them in the debate. And when they show up to the debate, see how promising, how motivating and how good it would be to see these Liberian leaders engaging in a debate. And Charlyne will be there. And Charlyne will be your sister. And Charlyne will be your daughter. Charlyne will be that Liberian woman, young woman, in the debate. Charlyne will be the face on a ballot in a country called Liberia. It's a symbolic, meaningful, and powerful message coming from us as a people. Don't look at the CPP, the partisan thing. Don't look at it. See it as a Liberian democracy process that is on a trajectory of women participation at the highest level. It is something worth celebrating. We should celebrate that. You should celebrate it now because it may be your sister. It may be somebody from your county. And you want all of us to celebrate it because it's Liberian. So the whole issue about Charlyne being on a major party ticket as a young enterprising woman is something that we should all embrace. She has come to compete with the experiences and that she got, with the education that she got as a Liberian citizen, a woman for that matter, who will challenge us, the men, to do better and go and get education. So this is all beautiful. This is something that we should like. And so today, the hour of politics, we should let go the likes of Finambono, who came to prominence because of political accident in our nation's history. And look at Finambono and look at Charlyne, look at Botokane and look at Charlyne. Can Fina represent Liberia? But this is Charlyne who can represent Liberia anywhere. who has the skill set, the education, and the internet, and the personality to be the face of our nation in whatever capacity, especially in this case, on the ticket of a major political party. It's a plus for the name Liberia or for the nation Liberia. It is a plus. It shouldn't matter her party and all that. She's a Liberian first, a Liberian woman first. And so we should celebrate that. So just as others are prepared to celebrate Finabono, others are prepared to celebrate Botokana, let us celebrate. Let us welcome it. Let us see the inspiration and how well it speaks of our nation. Let us see that. It cannot just be Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. It can't just be Mary Bro. It can't just be Mary Anthony Brown Sherman. It cannot only be Joel Howard Taylor. It cannot only be Lehman Bowie. I can go on and on. It cannot only be Grace Manor. It cannot only be Tianga Taylor. It has to be just every smart, educated, young Liberian woman. It cannot only be call family. It cannot only be them. We need all the Liberian women that we can get, educated, smart, with personality, to be the face, or if you like, the faces of the Liberian women and the nation Liberia. So yes, Charlene brings a lot to the table. And if you think she doesn't, maybe you are looking at it from a different angle. Maybe you are looking at it from your political lens. This is party politics. This is election time. And maybe she will only bring Basa vote, and that's it. That's how you are looking at it. I'm looking at it from the nationalistic point of view. I'm looking at it from the Liberian perspective, from the patriotic perspective. I'm looking at the plus of it, the inspiration that comes with it, the motivation that comes with it, how it speaks well for us internationally and to our friends. That's what I'm looking at. And I think that is something. So we want to see more of that. That Liberian men will always, or should always, consider the educated, smart, Liberian, and talented women that we have in our midst, that they can be like us. They can do more than us. In fact, they are even smarter than us, the men. We need to recognize that. For when we do that, we make the union strong. We made our nation vibrant. And that we are inclusive a little more. And if there is any Liberian woman we can speak of today as being a symbol of that, that is Charlyne Brumskine. My name is Ansony Sieh. I brought you an analytical piece here today on the topic profiling CPP Vice Tenant Bearer Charlyne M. Brumskine. The presentation was not intended to praise Sieh, a party. It was intended to speak to our hearts and our soul and our minds that there's something, or there can be something good about our country, about our politics. And we should all recognize that. And Charlyne is one such person. She being a vice standard bearer today in our nation's history is something that speaks well of us as a people. Indeed, she deserves that. She is well suited for that. She's well placed for that. Her education, experiences, her personality, her family history, it's just unique. And you should see it that way. So folks, until we see you again when we do the songs that is closing the broadcast today, as always, is called We Are All Liberians. We are all Liberians, and of course, Charlene is a Liberian. So enjoy the song. We are all Liberians. We are all Liberians, and bye-bye. And thank you for watching.
We are Liberians.